Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Terraform Provisioners. So what is Provisioners? So Provisioners are basically if you want to execute any script, once let's say for example you created one server. Uh, After that immediately, so we want to run any commands in OS level, installing Java or installing any software, installing any packages or installing any web servers. So as part of the Terraform provisionings, Terraform is not a as part of the provisioning. Terraform will build your server. Then after that, it's going to provision all services based on it's something like a bootstrap of the specific resources on the server level. So there is a few methods, few ways to provision. So one is Terraform. So we can do local level also, local execution and remote execution. Let's understand the exactly. So. Briefly about provisioners. Okay, let me go back to the document. So you can see here, provisioners are used to execute script on local or remote mission as part of the resource creation or destruction. So provisioners can be used to bootstrap of resources, clean up, destroy, or run configuration management, etc. Okay, let's say for example, we have a local execution. There is a few methods available. Local execution. Local execution is nothing but a so the local execution project execute code locally. What does mean? Okay, I'm using Windows here. I'm using running Terraform running my Windows command prompt. When you run the command prompt, so local means it's going to execute within the command prompt. So what does it means exactly? Where you are running Terraform, once you create a resource, immediately it will execute the command. So it means where you are running the command, there itself only it's going to execute the specific packages or whatever it is in the command prompt. Okay, that is a that is the local. So remote level means we create one server. Once you create the server, so remote means we run the Terraform, it created a server. They may immediately where you are running from there it has to do ssh specific user, then execute the commands. That is actually remote execution. Okay, so let's say for example you create one server. Once you create a server, immediately I want to install Nginx configuration or Java packages. So what we'll do, so we need to set the setup. So from local where I'm running Terraform here, so what we'll do from there, it will connect the user, EC2-user, EC2-user and specific password and host name. So it has to go connect from my command prompt to my server. There we have to run all the commands. Okay. So let me go back and see exactly what is provisioners. Okay, if you go back and see Terraform document, so these are the provisioners. Okay, if you can see provisioners, if you can see provisioners overview, so the declarative provisioners are provisioners connection and the provisioners without resource. So what does mean? If you can see, uh, you can see here. So generic provisions, so there is a file is there, local execution remote is there, and also vendor provisions. Vendor provisions means see the name Terraform, so it's going to call as a Ansible, some other Chef and Puppet. See those kind of vendor provisions. Okay, if you go and see exactly local provision, what exactly is going to do? If you can see here, what is going to it's going to create one server. Okay, you have to fill all the details based on the arguments which are required to create the EC2 instance. Then provision, this is the command basic syntax to provisioner. So what is mean the provisioner? It is calling as something like local execute and command is something like this. Okay. So what is that doing? It's going to pull the echo or the specific IP address of the your EC2 instance. So is Terraform is not only managing infrastructure or provisioning infrastructure. It's only do some kind of uh, it's going to do provisioner as well. Provisioner means it's going to run a couple of OS level commands. Okay. Okay, if you come down, if we see this is a local education, local provisioner example. If you can see, so these are the arguments. Is there command working directory interpol? Some of the thing is there. Based on that, we have to place special all the arguments in the provision. If you can see remote execution, if you remote execution means remote execution provisioners invoke the script remote resource after it created. Okay, this can be used to run a configuration management tool or bootstrap into cluster, etc. Okay, so, okay, if you can see, if you scroll down, the provisioners are remote execution means if it is a Windows, we have to use the WinRM. If it is a SSH is basically if we want to connect any Solaris server or Linux server, so we have to use the SSH only. Okay, so from there we can communicate to SSH from local machine to remote where we want to run the specific scripts. Okay, bootstrapping script. Okay, if we come down, if you can see the example, you say this is the resource which I am creating and the provisioners where I am running inline. Inline I'm applying as a puppet apply or some other stuff. So you can make it anything. This is the basic example. So how we want, how it is going to work. So it doesn't mean how we are writing shell script. We can call it as everything here. Okay. If you come down, there is an argument which I want to inline script. So script is nothing but what we want to do script. So we have to copy locally from here to server from source. If you run the Ansible playbook, how we load source and destination. The same way we have to write in the command line source execution. Then after that it has to run the script. Okay, so you can copy any location. We can copy the default. The temp is already available in any server, so we can copy to default. From there you can call it as a this scripts. Okay, so if you come down, you can see the script. If you can see the example, this is the one. So you cannot pass any argument script like that. So it does mean, so if you write a script in OS level, you place all the commands, bunch of commands. If you run it local remote level, it doesn't work like that. So you have to copy the source script. Source script you have to write, fill all the details. Then destination you have to keep that temp. What does mean? The local script where you are running Terraform, it's going to copy the destination to here. Then after that it's going to execute like this. Okay, the inline command we have to give the permissions. For the plus x means execute permissions for the specific script.sh. Then it will run the Terraform. Okay, then it will run the script execution. Okay, based on the remote execution provision. Okay, so that's what I want to say. So let's jump into the lab and we'll see how it is going to work. So first what I will do, so let me go and see. I'm using basics syntax. So what I'm doing actually here using AWS environment to build the uh, to use the provision, how it is going to work in by using Terraform. So this is the resource. I'm creating basics server. I'm using tag and other stuff. These are the provisioners I'm using as a local executant, where I'm using as one argument command. So what is doing is going to, once you create the instance, it's going to pick the public IP address of the server and keep into the .text file. It's nothing but output. So output, how it is going to, its output means it's going to print the output once the Terraform execution is completed. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the lab. Let me run the Terraform apply. Okay, Terraform apply. I'm using auto apply. Let's see. Now we can see the server is created. It's created. Now we can see the output started executing the provisioner local execution. So I'm using as a local. That's why it calling as a provisioning with the local. Then you can see the output of the command. Says this is the IP address of the public. It's right into the pipe into the public.txt file. Okay. If you go back and see here, there is one file called the public.txt file. So where I am running Terraform, so it can see the file here. Okay. If you go back to the console level, so the server which I created, so you can see the provisioner. So it's running. If you can see the IP address of the server, so 3.9 dot something. Okay, 3.9.190. These are on IP address. Okay, this is the local. Okay, so what I'm okay. Let me go ahead and see the remote how it is going to work. Okay, so this is the local execution. Uh, So you can keep it anything, doesn't matter. But basic syntax which I am using for the local way, because I'm running as a Windows, so I don't want to. I can't keep it as a mmin or something like that way, because mmin doesn't work Windows level. So where I am using as a remote level, this is the remote execution which I am using remote provider. So if you can see, this is the basic syntax which I'm creating server. You can see server. Then if you can scroll down, you can see that this is a provider which I am using. You can see inline. What I'm going to do inline, I'm going to install Nginx, and then I'm going to start the Nginx services. So what does mean? It's going to connect the remote level. So how it's going to work remotely? See, I cannot run as a, now I'm running as a command in my command prompt. So how it is going to connect to the remote level after creating the instance? So based on the connection string. Okay, if you can see here, scroll down. In the connection, I have specified a couple of arguments which required to communicate. If you go back and see Terraform document, so where it is, if we see these are remote education, you can see these are, there are a couple of arguments available. This is not, if you can see provisioning with the resources and provisioning connection, these are what you want to see. So if you can see here, if you can scroll down, so these are the arguments which required to remote level, uh, type and user and password and host and port. There are a couple of arguments which required, but I'm using a few of them which required for me. Okay, in your case, you may require a couple of them, but this is the basic syntax. So what I'm doing, type is SIH. I want to make it as a communication SH connection from my local to where I am running Terraform and the remote server. And the user is EC2 user. The default user, once you create the user, that's the default user. It's come up as a EC2 server. So I'm using EC2. The private key I'm using. These are one very very important. So where you are running the Terraform, the private key should be available. Okay, then only it's going to communicate. Okay, if you can see, I'm placing as a class.pem file is available. So in your case, so where you are running terraform apply, the same location should be available in your pem file .pem file. It could be any, I'm using as a class.pem. This is a very very important. Then only the sh communication will work, otherwise communication is going to fail. Okay, please make sure this is very important. Okay, then after that, self host. What does mean host? I'm using self is public IP. See the argument which required to for any EC2 instance. If you go back and see here, how can we say self? What does mean self? If we can see here, declarating provision. If we can see, if we scroll down, self. So you can see here the self object. What does it mean? The self object represent a provision's parent resource and has all the resource attribute. For example, use the self.public IP reference. So AWS.instance and resource logical name and public IP attribute. If you make it like that, what will happen is it's going to automatically communicate based on the parent resource. Okay. So this is the basic syntax which I am using. Let me go ahead and run the Terraform apply. Okay. I'm using auto approve. It's automatic. It doesn't require to ask. It doesn't ask for the command prompt to say yes. Okay. So okay, sorry. So it doesn't require two times. So it's already local is available. So let me take it out this one. Okay, let me save. So I have a local also available. Let me net a form. This will take 2 minutes. Now we can see server is started creating. Server is started creating and started executing for the provisioning with remote execution. Okay, it's trying to connect. Actually, it will wait for a few more minutes. Why? Because the server started creating now, so it will take few minutes to launch. So if you can go back and see, so what is going to happen here? So if you let me refresh, so you can see remote execution is proceeding. Still in the process of initializing, it will wait for few minutes. Once the status check is green, then it start communicating, start doing SH from where I am running Terraform, from there to the specific server based on this IP address. Okay, so let's wait a few more minutes. Let's see. So it's keep on checking. AWS still waiting to connect. So trying to connect. So we'll wait for a few minutes. You can see once the server is initialization is completed, then it will start communicating. Yeah, still it's initializing. Let's wait for a few more. Yeah, you can see now. You can see connected remote execution. So you can see connected to the host via SSH. This is the host public IP 3.1.10. If you go back and see, so provisioning remote. If you can see, this is the IP address 3.10.17946. This is the exact IP. Okay. So now what will happen is now it is started connected. You can see the communication is passed. You can see the status is connected. Now it will start running the, you can see now you can see Nginx and everything is running. So you can see there's everything completed. So now if you go back and uh, take the public IP, so take the public IP and trying to log into the server. So let's see what is going. You can let's see. So I'm using .ppk file. Take this one, go into the console. So go log into the EC2 user. Give the password. So let me check the Nginx status. Systemctl status Nginx. So systemctl status Nginx. Sorry. So you can see the status Nginx. If you go back on console, go back to the console level. Uh, if you run the IP address, So you can see the Nginx also up and running. So based on the syntax, what are the commands which you're going to put? I just install Nginx. So if you want any specific, we can call it as. Okay. I hope this video it may be useful for you. Uh, if you like the video, please do like and share. If you have any comments, please put in the comment section. I'll come back to that's all for the day. Thank you.